Hey folks, Farmer Marshall here. I did it for the spring and now I'm getting ready to do it for the fall. Seed planting for your fall garden. So come on, let's get to it. This year I decided to just grab a bag of peat moss and fill up my trays. If you don't save your trays when you buy plants, you should save them. This tray might be from 1, 2 years ago. I have no idea. But I've saved bunches of them so I don't have to buy any type of um, so I don't have to buy anything that already has medium in it. I can just take these, fill them up, save myself a few dollars because I'm cheap. So first thing I'm going to do, I already hit some that had some material in it, so that's why those look different. Also because they're probably really dry. So I'm going to fill these up. And in case you're wondering what I'm planting, I guess I could go and tell you that now. I'm doing lettuce, more lettuce, broccoli, collards, cabbage, spinach, mustard, more mustards, more collards, probably some turnip greens, Brussels sprouts, and I have a bunch of stuff I got to plant. But I'm not going to do all these today. But fortunately, they're similar in how you plant them. These guys are, well, let me show you. Now, the first step obviously is to pick out what you're going to grow, which I've already shown you. Second step, fill up your growing medium. And when you're using something like peat moss, it's always best if you go on and pre-moisten the peat moss. And if you use warm water, it absorbs the water quicker. So you won't have to be delayed as much if you use cold watering. The weirdest thing, I had no idea, but warm water will actually absorb quicker. Now it's okay if you have a little extra water in there. It's no big deal. These trays, the water will go through, but it would also soak through, so you're not going to have big puddles of water in these trays. Now, one of the great things about the things I picked out is their planting depth is only about 1/4 of an inch. And instead of trying to measure it out or guess, I just take a pencil eraser. You take that, dab yourself a hole down, and there you go. Well, I have a wasp spot here. So hopefully you can see that. So, but hopefully you can see that well. So first thing first, my collard greens. Collard green seeds are tiny, just like a lot of the other items that I'm growing. Hope you can see these guys here. Uh-oh. Collard green seeds are tiny. Hope you can see those guys there. A couple of them right there in my hand, shaking around. So yeah, they're tiny. So generally, for germination purposes, I don't mind putting 2 or 3 into one hole. Simply because if they all germinate, I will pinch off 1 or 2 of them and just focus on the one main plant that I want to keep. Otherwise, if only 1 out of 3 germinate, I still have a plant and I haven't wasted time in one of these holes here. So just drop them in. And since I always kind of like to finish where I started, I'm going to make sure that I do this 1 6-pack right here. full of collards. Drop them right in that hole there. And I know I can barely see them, so you may not be able to see them either. But they're in there. And all I'm going to do is cover that hole up a little bit. Just cover it up with the growing medium. Now, one reason why I pre-watered it or pre-moistened it is because imagine if now I took my water and poured it over there. Those seeds could be moved out of the hole. It could completely mess up what you're trying to do. So if pre-water them, they're already set, they're good to go. So that's probably the best way to do that. And considering it's a little warm out, what I might do in the future, when I water them some more, maybe in 3 or 4 days, I'm not going to water directly here. I'm going to actually just add water to the tray because water will absorb up into the peat moss. So most of what I'm going to be planting, most of my brassicas, because your broccoli, cauliflowers, cabbage, all that's in the brassica family. All of those, at least all the ones I have here, can be planted about 1/4 inch deep. I've seen some that say 1/4 to 1/2 inch, but you're pretty much covered just by going 1/2 inch deep. And I'm going to give all of these guys anywhere from 7 to 10 to maybe even 14 days to germinate. But one of the most important things to do is to make sure that you keep them moist. You don't want these seed packets areas to dry out because that can completely destroy what you're trying to do. So give them 7 to 10 days or up to 14 days. And if you don't see anything coming up by then, go on and replant. It's just seeds, they aren't super expensive. I'd rather do seeds than going and buying starch. The prices of starch have just gotten ridiculously high. So I'm just going to be cheap as I can be, which is, well, how I normally am. So, but you can do this. First time I ever really did something like a tomato, which has super tiny seeds, or peppers, was this summer. I did it, and I just followed some basic rules. Put them in a good growing medium. I kept them moist. So I'm not going to take 20-30 minutes showing you how I plant all these seeds, but I will get back with you and show you my end results. So check back, like, subscribe, share, click that notification buttons, because once these plants come up, I'm going to be showing you how they worked out, and we can take this journey together. So let's get out there and get a little dirty.